Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Once again I welcome you all to the biology online class. In the last session I had started with lesson number 2, that is reproduction in plants. Let's quickly revise whatever we had done. So the ability of living organism to produce young ones of their own kind is called as reproduction. This is the ability through which the living organism of a particular species survive, otherwise that particular species will come to an end. This reproduction takes place by two means, that is, there are two modes of reproduction. First is the sexual reproduction and then the asexual reproduction. When sexual reproduction takes place, it involves both the parents, male and female both, and involves the production of special sex cells which are called as gametes, and thereafter fertilization takes place. Is that clear? And in plants also the same thing we are discussing about plants. So reproductive cells are produced in male and female parts of the plant, and they fuse to produce seeds, and these seeds germinate to produce new plants. In talking about the asexual reproduction, there is the involvement of a single parent and no sex cells or gametes are produced. Here the asexual reproduction takes place by fragmentation, spore formation and vegetative propagation, which is of course the artificial means of production or the use of some other parts of the plants like roots, stems and leaves for producing new plants. So fragmentation, I have told you that when an organism breaks into two or more fragments, that is two or more parts, which can be two or more than that, each fragment or each part develops into a new individual organism. For instance, here the Spirogyra has split up into two, that is broken into two fragments or two pieces, so two separate Spirogyra will be formed. So the Spirogyra is a green alga and it has a ribbon like body, which you can see in this diagram, and it breaks into two or more fragments, and each fragment grows into a new individual, that is new Spirogyra. Then the spore formation, that is certain non-flowering plants like mosses and ferns, they reproduce by forming spores. How are these spores formed? They are produced by a round structure which is called as sporangium, and when this sporangium bursts, you can see the burst, its wall breaks open, the spores are dispersed, and when these spores get proper condition for germination, they germinate to produce a new plant. In this case it is mosses or ferns. Is that clear? I discussed about budding also. So what is budding? This is seen in yeast, that is a small outgrowth called a bud is formed on the side of its body. You can see over here, this grows and develops and it gets detached from the parent body to form a new yeast cell. At time this yeast cell forms several buds, that is the same. This budding can be so fast that the first bud starts forming its own bud before itself getting detached from the parent body. So this forms a chain of bud, and each individual bud is capable of producing a new yeast cell. Is it clear? Let's proceed on further with the vegetative propagation. What is vegetative propagation? That when new plants grow from the vegetative parts. What are the vegetative parts of a plant? They are stem, roots and leaves. Is that clear? We call them vegetative. They are not involved in the process of reproduction. The reproductive part of the plant is the flower, which bears the male and the female parts both. So talking about the vegetative parts, that is the roots, stems and leaves of a plant, it is a means of asexual reproduction, and these can also help in producing new plants, that is in the process of reproduction. So it is a type of asexual reproduction, and the vegetative parts which are involved, whether be it the stem, leaves or root, they are known as the propagules. Is that clear? Propagules. It is very light, so you can see in your book P-R-O-P-A-G-U-L-E-S, propagules, right? So when we talk collectively, we say that although at times in certain plants it is the stem, in certain plants it is the root, in certain plants it is the leaf. So but we can give several examples. For example, the potato, mint, ginger, sugarcane and banana, they all reproduce by vegetative propagation. So let's first discuss the vegetative propagation by stems. Now you can see in certain plants like grass, strawberry and mint, they reproduce by this stem, that is through the stems. Now in this you can see that the stems of some plants grow horizontally. Horizontally means like this. Vertical means upwards. Horizontally means a parallel line towards the ground. Exactly, you can see this one stem growing towards the ground. Now then when this gets covered with the soil, then a time comes when the roots and shoot also develop at the nodes. What are the nodes? What are nodes? That is, for instance, this is a stem. So here the leaf is born over here. This point on the leaf where the stem is born, stem starts coming out. This is the node. This is the second node. Then the space between them is the internode. So when this the stem gets covered with the soil, then it develops at the nodes, that is at the point where stem has come out. The roots and shoots also, new roots and shoots start coming out, and the shoot grows upwards, and of course the root grow downwards. So the leaf develop on the shoot. You can see this develops on the shoot. So the example of such kind of plants are that is the plants which grow through their stems are grass, strawberry and mint. Then certain underground stems are also used for vegetative propagation. Now you can easily recognize this. It is a very common vegetable used at home, that is the potato. You have seen such kind of features on the surface of the potato. Yes. So this is the node and the internode. This is called the eye because it gives the appearance of the eye. So this point, this dot over there, here is the node, and this is the bigger one covering it, that is the internode. So this gives an appearance of the eye, that is why it has been labeled as the eye. So the common underground stems are tubers. This is called the potato tuber. Apart from this tuber you can see in potato, and this underground stem of the potato is called as the stem tuber. So it has many nodes and internodes, and this is called as eye. Collectively this gives the appearance like this, so it is called an eye of the potato. So this is the part which later on will develop if kept for some time and gets proper temperature and proper little amount of moisture. Then it will start growing bud, bearing bud. So if the potato is cut from this part, now this over here a part is taken, and from here and here it is sown under the soil, then it will develop into a new potato. Exactly, it grows into a new potato plant. So this is the underground potato tuber, underground stem. It is called as the potato tuber, and it is used for vegetative propagation. Then another example of underground stem is bulb. Is that clear? Now this is the bulb of an onion, and this bulb is also seen in plants like tulip and lily. So this kind of structure, it's a very common feature. You all have come across, or you see this every day. So what if you open this, you will see this kind of structure, that is, these are known as fleshy scale leaves. And what is inside this? it is the axillary bud. So they are protected by fleshy scale leaves. The axillary bud inside is protected by the fleshy scaly leaves. So these have both axillary as well as terminal buds. What are axillary buds? If you draw the diagram, draw the picture of a stem, or diagram of a stem, and what you have here, this point which is between the, and you draw over here the whole stem, this point over here, this is the axil. This point is known as the axil, this point is known as the node. But if the flower, this is the flowering stem which comes out, this point is known as the axil. So the axillary and terminal bud, two kinds of buds which are found in the onion bulb, they are protected by the fleshy scaly leaves. And these fleshy scaly leaves, what is the function? They store food which is used by these buds later on for growth of a new plant. Exactly, if this is kept for some time in warm condition, then this bulb will also grow into a new onion plant. Is it clear? The next example of the underground stem is rhizome. So rhizome example is in ginger and turmeric. Is that clear? So this is the branch underground stem which is known as the rhizome. This is called as the rhizome. And they have, you can see, they also have nodes and internodes. These lines that you can see over here, they have also nodes and internodes, thin scaly leaves. Is that clear? The structure, they have thin scaly leaves, and these axillary buds grow into new plants. These axillary buds grow into new plant. The terminal buds and axillary buds, both which are produced on the surface of the ginger plant, so they grow into new plant. Now vegetative propagation also takes place by roots. So you have certain example like the sweet potato, dahlia, asparagus, carrot, tamarind. The most commonly used are of course sweet potato and carrot. They are solen. So they store, what is the function? They store food. And what is present on them? That is, they contain buds on them, and they are swollen with food. So when these buds detach from the parent plant, they give rise to new plant. They get separated from the parent plant and they get proper condition for germination. They give rise to new plants. Example is sweet potato, dahlia, cascara, asparagus, carrot and tamarind. Now vegetative propagation also takes place through leaves. In certain plants like bryophyllum and begonia, buds are found in the notches. Notches mean the surface of the leaf, or the sides of the leaf, or the edges of the leaf are not smooth, they are not even, they are not like this, but instead they have notches like this. Inside these notches, what is present? Buds. That is, on the margins they have buds which get detached from the parent plant and fall in moist soil, and they grow into new plants. So this also starts these these are known as, they are very small and they at times start growing on the parent leaf itself. For example, you can see over here that started growing on the parent leaf, and when these get separated from the parent leaf and fall on the soil where they get proper conditions, they grow into new plant. Is it clear? Now these are the natural methods of that vegetative propagation. That is, they can be artificial methods of vegetative propagation as well. For example, cutting, layering, grafting and micropropagation. Now in cutting, what happened? The stem cutting, a part of the stem is cut, and this is called as the stem cutting, and this stem has an axillary bud. It has an axillary bud on it. Now this I will show over here, this axillary bud, this is there, and here in the axil a bud is there. This is the axillary bud. Is it clear? So along with the axillary bud, this part of the stem is cut and it is sowed in the soil, and this cutting of the stem, this develops into this grows into a new plant after some time. This is planted in moist soil, and after a few days roots and leaves develop from the cut stem. This method is used to propagate rose, bougainvillea and sugarcane. This is the example of the plant where this method of vegetative propagation is used. Apart from this, we have a second method of artificial vegetative propagation, that is layering. Bark of a small portion, now you had told about the stem which is happening naturally, that the stem grows horizontally, it gets covered by soil when it touches the ground, and then it starts developing into new it grows into a new plant. Here it is done artificially, that is the stem is put like this. It is not growing horizontally, but instead what is there, the bark of a small portion of the lower branch is removed, and this branch is bent and the portion of the stem is covered with moist soil. Bark, that is the thick cover, that is the thick part that is there, the brown cover, that brown layer which covers the stem, which is thick and hard. So that is removed, and that part from which the bark has been removed, it is lowered in the soil, it is covered with soil and moist soil. After a few days, what happens, that the roots develop on the buried portion of the branch. The branch is then cut from the main plant and it grows as an independent. Now after some time, when it grows roots and start growing the shoot, and this shoot start bearing the leaves and other parts, then this part or this from here, this is cut, and then this grows into a new plant. So this is also used to propagate guava, lemon, China rose and jasmine. Is that clear? This is the example of the plants in which this method is used for vegetative propagation. Then another method is grafting. What is here, that the stem of one plant without the root. Is that clear? This is without the root. This is known as the scion. Is cut obliquely. Obliquely means like this, not this straight, but slanted. This is an oblique cut, and placed over another plant with the rooted stem. Now this part, this has the roots, and this is called the stalk. Now this has been separated from this plant. Now this is used for some other plant where scion, not this, it will not be attached to the same plant. It is taken and attached to the stalk of another plant of the same species. It is done in such a way that the cambium of both the stems come in contact with each other, that is the inner tissue that is present inside them. It is done and it is tied like this, wrapped around, so that the cambium, that the tissue inside them, they are together, they come together. And what happens? What is cambium? It is CAMBIM. This is the tissue which has cells which actively divide, which grow very fast. Is that clear? So these are bound tightly with a piece of cloth and covered with a polythene sheet to avoid infection and the loss of water from cut surfaces. So this is covered by polythene so that there is no infection and there is no loss of water from the cut surfaces. What happens after few days? After few days, both of these which were tied together, they join together, and this method is used to develop new and better varieties of plant. For example, For instance, this has been taken from a plant which has a high, which bears many grains, high yielding variety. Is that clear? It is a high yielding variety, that is the number of grains produced are more. Or another plant, the stalk is of a plant which is disease resistant, that is a particular disease is occurring in other species of the same plant but not in this plant. So this is a superior variety and it is a disease resistant variety. So what do we get? Now the new plant that will grow by using the scion stalk of two different type of plant of the same species, we will get two good qualities in this particular plant, that is disease resistant as well as high yield. So this method is used to propagate mango, apple, peach, pear and lemon. High yield in this case is, that is the number of apple, pear, peach are many, much, the number is much more. Is that clear? So this is called as grafting. So next method of artificial vegetative propagation is of course micropropagation, or you can even call it tissue culture. So it is a type of artificial vegetative propagation and it is done by the tissue culture method or tissue culture technique. What is done in this? A tiny piece of bud is taken, not the whole bud but a very small piece of that bud is taken, or shoot, any part, it can be a bud, it can be a shoot or any other part of the plant. A very small piece is taken and this small piece or tiny piece is known as the explant. Is it clear? This is explant, and this explant is treated with chemicals to prevent growth of microbes. Before using it further, this is treated with chemicals so that it is free of any microbes. Now it is grown in a particular nutrient medium. Now that is nutrient medium, that is the whatever nutrients or whatever minerals that are required by the plant for growth, they are put in this medium, that is this is known as the nutrient medium, and this explant is put inside this nutrient medium. Now what happens in the nutrient medium, that the cells of the tissue divide and grow into a mass. You can see this is a very small piece over here, but here it has grown into a mass. It's a very small piece, and when after few days, just because this contains nutrients or the minerals which are required by the plant for the growth, it grows into a bigger piece. This is known as mass. This contains many cells. And apart from the nutrient medium, in this nutrient medium, what else is made? Growth regulators. That is, growth regulators are the plant hormones. Plant hormones, in this case you can just understand that these are the hormones or these are the chemicals which are used by the plant for their growth. It helps the plant to grow rapidly, grow fast. After some days, now this is known as the callus. This is known as the callus, that is CALLUS. Explant grows into a callus, and after few days what happened? The callus differentiate into roots and stem. You can see it has differentiated, it has grown. You can make out the root and the stem over here. So this tiny plant is called as the plantlet. Now this plantlet is transferred to the soil and it grows into a new plant. Now this is the way in which many plants like orchids, chrysanthemum and asparagus are grown. So this is the method by which certain plants, like especially the ornamental plants, are grown. So this is all for today. Please revise it. Allah Hafiz.